So, Cyberpunk 2077 is finally getting its DLC, known as Phantom Liberty. It's set to release on the 26th of September 2023, so we're about 3 months away at this moment. But with the DLC, it's not just as simple as expanding the game. There are a bunch of secrets that are going to be available from this DLC. There's a lot of changes to how mechanics and stuff work in the game. And if you've just looked at a trailer or you've just come to the understanding that a DLC is being released, you're not going to know about a lot of the stuff that's going on in the game. To start off, when Phantom Liberty releases, the recommended and minimum requirements for the game are going to become more demanding for PC. For an example, right now, the minimum processor is an AMD FX 8310 or an i5 3570, and when Phantom Liberty releases, to play the DLC, so the base game will stay the same, but the DLC to play it, you're going to need a Ryzen 5 1600 or an i7 6700. The minimum in terms of RAM is going from 8GB up to 12, and the graphics card is going from a 970 or a Radeon RX 470 up to a GTX 1060 or an RX 580. When it comes to recommended, it's going from an i7 4790 or a Ryzen 3 3200G up to an i7 12700 or a Ryzen 7 7800X 3D. The RAM is going from 12GB up to 16, and the graphics card is going from a 1060 or a 1660 Super or even a Radeon RX 590 all the way up to an RTX 2060 Super or a Radeon RX 5700 XT. Then when it comes to the storage size, the base game of Cyberpunk 2077 is around 70GB, and Phantom Liberty is basically the same size as the base game, which kind of gives you a brief look at how big this DLC is really going to be, because the storage required is about 70GB. And with that comes an increased cost based on previous DLC, especially for CD Projekt Red titles. This DLC is going to cost you £25, or the equivalent, I think it's €30 or $35. So it's really, really expensive for a DLC, but it's not just a DLC, as in they're expanding the game. They are doing a lot of work. And there's going to be an update that launches alongside it. I think it's 1.7. And that is going to overhaul a lot of stuff in the base game, so you don't necessarily need to purchase the DLC to enjoy some of the improvements that the developers have made. With Phantom Liberty, though, when it comes to ray tracing, if you want ray tracing overdrive, it's going to have a resolution of 2160p, 60 FPS expected frames, and you're going to need a Core i9 12900 or a Ryzen 9 7900X. It's also recommended that you have a GeForce RTX 4080, and you're going to need 24GB of RAM. To play in Ultra at 2160p 60 FPS without ray tracing on, you're still going to need the same processor, the i9 12900 or the Ryzen 9 7900X, but instead of 24GB RAM, you need 20GB, and instead of a 4080, it's recommended a 3080 or a Radeon RX 7900 XTX. So very, very demanding specs. And this DLC is expected to overhaul and change a lot of mechanics in the game. There's going to be your full typical expansion. You get a whole new district and everything that you can play in. There's loads coming to it in terms of content as well. Not only that, you've got the return of Keanu Reeves, and you've also got the new addition of Idris Elba, who actually plays a character in the game. And some of the mechanics they're overhauling and stuff. For an example, there is a system, there's going to be a new risk system being implemented for cyberware. And there was something in the game called cyber psychosis, but this system doesn't work exactly the same way that does. In this new system, players are only going to be able to equip so much cyberware at a time. However, there is a new Edgerunner perk that's going to allow V, your character, to surpass the limit, but at the cost of penalties like health debuffs and stuff. They've basically explained the system to be all about balance, the balance between risk and reward. And for those of you unaware as well, Phantom Liberty will not be releasing on the Xbox One and the PS4. It's only going to be available for PC, PS5, and the Xbox Series X and S. It was actually quite a while ago when they cancelled the addition of the Xbox One and the PS4, like being able to play the Phantom Liberty DLC. So within this DLC, you are going to be returning as V, and you're going to embark on a high-stakes mission of espionage and intrigue to save the NUSA president. There's a whole new area called Dogtown. It's a district that's riddled with secrets and opportunities that can only be seized by those willing to do whatever it takes. There is a brand new story to it. Espionage is a high-risk game and failure is not an option. Choose your allies with care as you unravel the secrets at the heart of the expansion. You can create your own playstyle, like you can invest in a new skill tree, grab new tech, cyberware, vehicles and weapons to power up on a mission ahead. And your decisions in Phantom Liberty impact not only the fate of the characters around you, but also your own fate. And if you are to pre-order, you are going to get access to the Quadrasport R7 Vigilante. And it does say that you get it before anyone else. So I don't know if that's going to be coming as the free edition to the game at some point or something like that. It just states that you can get it before anyone else. So I believe that will eventually become available, even if it's a separate purchase. They might do it standalone, like $1.99 or something like that. They might do a little cheap sale for it after the pre-order so that everyone's got access to it, but those who pre-order get it first. So basically, some of the things they're doing with patch 1.7 and the release of Phantom Liberty, they are overhauling the skills and the perks. The skill tree looks completely different. They're going to have a new police system. There's going to be vehicle combat in the game. There's going to be updated and new weaponized vehicles. There's going to be a steal vehicles fixer activity, so you'll be able to go around and steal vehicles and stuff. You'll probably get to sell them or something like that to make a bit of money. I have absolutely no idea how that's going to work at the moment. There are going to be dynamic faction fights. There's going to be an airdrop activity. As stated earlier in the video, they're overhauling the cyberware, so there's a lot more balanced on risk versus reward. There's going to be improvements to your inventory. There are clothing and armor changes. There is an updated UI. There are new abilities. You can ram through enemies and stuff. There are going to be improvements to the AI. There's going to be graphical improvements. There are changes to the progression in the game. There's a new relic tree. And there is an expanded choice and consequence within Phantom Liberty. So the choices you make will have different consequences and stuff. So yeah, there is so much stuff coming to this DLC. It's not just a simple expansion like you would see in a lot of other video games. As I said, the file size for this on PC is around the same size as the base game itself. It states that you need 70 gigabytes of available space for storage. So this is in no way, shape or form a tiny expansion. There should be a lot of content for people, a brand new story and everything like that. And so many changes and overhauls to systems in the game. And I absolutely cannot wait to get my hands on it. As I said, it releases on the 26th of September this year, so around 3 months away. And that is some extra information for those of you that don't know about the upcoming Cyberpunk 2077 Phantom Liberty expansion. And on that note, we are going to leave the video there. If you enjoyed it, leaving a like is appreciated. If you wish to support me further as a creator, there are links in the description. Let me know your thoughts about the video in the comments. And if you want to watch more, you can click the video on screen. All support on the channel is greatly appreciated, and I hope you enjoyed it. Thank you for watching.